You got maps and stuff downstairs, right?
I could what?
You got maps and stuff of the city?
Yeah, they're on the website for the most part.
Okay, what I need is,
Yeah?
I need a blow-up of a certain section of town for the parade committee.
Okay.
And it's gonna start from like the fire department down to Frost Street. And it'll be central and all the little streets in between. It'll be central mostly, and then up on Park. So we'll go Park to Main.
Okay, well, the products we have are what we have. I don't have a means of creating what you're talking about. But you can get any of the maps online and take them down to like Kinko's or Office Max or something like that, and they might be able to blow that up for you.
Yeah.
I can make, we can print out a ledger size, pretty good size, and by continuing to enlarge and make copies, you can get something, but it gets real grainy.
Yeah, I know. I've played with this stuff for so long, being a graphic designer. So, yeah, I know how to do stuff.
Oh,
Legit?
Yeah.
It's time.
It is time. Oh,
Ladies and gentlemen,
Hey, child.
welcome to the August 27th, 2019 Tenino City Council work session. On the agenda, we have a discussion about managed network services, Washington Voters' Rights Act considerations, new police vehicle, a resolution to adopt the final Yelm Tenino Trail Extension feasibility study report, and then I want to talk about the wall being completed, and if we want, and doing like a ribbon cutting. So we'll add that. So let's start at the top. Managed network services. Mr. Millard.
ladies and gentlemen, in your agenda packet, there are several documents. I'm going to walk you through a brief comparison of the products that have been submitted to us, or the proposals, I should say. And then, if you want to, we can talk about the details of those. Those documents are also in your packet. The latest proposal from both vendors, and then I formulated a set of questions that I submitted to both of them, and they both answered those questions. And the answers to those questions are in this slide pack, and so I'm going to try to let the data speak for itself. So I'm on the slide pack, Managed Network Services. The purpose of this briefing is to decide which managed network service provider we want to recommend to you. The problem is, the going-in position is if they're out there and they're got a viable business doing what it is they do, their technical competence is not in question. From two very similar providers, what's going to differentiate them to us? And I submit to you that's what's the best value for us here in Tenino. After going through this, you'll see I'm going to recommend, excuse me, the proposal that was submitted by Right Systems. And the reason that we're going to recommend that is because their proposal includes equipment. Part of our monthly cost to them is actually going to, they're going to set that aside or amortize it over the cost of the contract and provide us the equipment that we, not everything, but the most needed equipment up to an amount, and I can't recall the amount of time. But that's it. So it's a feature of that contract. The price between the two contracts is, it's de minimis. It's $20 or $30 difference between the two proposals. So having that equipment in the one proposal makes it a much better value to the city. Here's the things we're going to talk about. I'm on slide 5. Why are we doing this? Because our current service provider, they're doing the best they can. They're living up to the terms of their contract, but our system now is so old that we use all our hours, and the service provider just can't keep up with this. That's not their business model. So we gotta find a way to do it ourselves. If we try to do it ourselves at our own expense, that's about 80 grand a year. That's not gonna work for us either. And then there's the technical aspects of our system. The hardware that we have attached, we now have a first-rate fiber optic backbone, and with the exception of one laptop computer, all the equipment that's hooked up to it can't take advantage of the technical capabilities of the system. They just don't meet the specs. As you heard last session, Microsoft has announced that they are going to discontinue support for Windows 7 on December 31st of this year. All but one of the computers in the city run on Windows 7. So at minimum, we're going to have to buy new software to remain viable and part of the network.
These computers,
But again,
will the computers that we have actually handle the new software?
well, the computers we have would not. That's what I was just going to say. Luckily, the vendor is going to step in and they're going to have a phased succession plan so that they can keep our critical components on the network. Again, the cost of the proposal includes some equipment. Not all of that is in the computer. Some of it is in the security hardware required for the network. For example, they want to provide a hardware firewall, so that's a device, and then the software to configure that device to apply our security protocols to the network. They're going to work with us to develop security protocols that work for us. So anyway, the bottom line is we need to do this. I'm not telling you anything new. We've known this for a long time. Generally, when you're doing a complex thing like this, you have to make some assumptions, but in this case, there really isn't. We have the money to do this. It's just a decision that we have to make. We don't have to assume anything. So the two courses of action are Brightwire Networks and Right Systems. You'll see here in a minute how I'm going to explain what network security, network reliability, support features, and total cost to the city mean. And then we're going to compare those aspects of each of those proposals, and we'll let you decide which you want to do. So network security. From just the standpoint of building a network and operating the network, I'm defining network security to mean the ability to withstand any cyber attack. That's phishing, spoofing, hacking. If it's from, it's security. Our network security is nobody from the outside can get in. Part of security is also getting out, but that's not really network security. That's procedural security and training on the part of the operators of the system from within the system to not do something to let somebody in. But that's different. That's on us. That's not on them. Although they have said that they will help us. Both companies will help train us. Network reliability. That means once we turn it on, we shouldn't have to turn it off unless we want to, right? So reliability means we can rely that the thing is going to work the way it's supposed to work every day. Support, there was concern about, hey, are we going to get a voicemail box, or are we going to get a live human being? And if we get a live human being, are we going to be able to understand it? And the answer from both of those companies is we will never get voicemail. We will always get a live human being. They will always be able to communicate sufficiently with us so that they can understand the problem. And whether it's work hours or non-work hours, both vendors have a process to take the help call and either address the issue remotely, or if they have to send a tech out, then they'll send a tech out. And so again, they're both offering very similar services. So features, what is our money buying us? Is it buying us just the help desk? Is it buying us training? Is it buying us technical support? And of course, the answer to all of those is yes. But one of the vendors added some hardware in there too. And then of course, we want to know how much it's going to cost us. And that cost includes changing systems and bringing us on, they call it onboarding. They're onboarding the city to their security protocols and helping us do that as seamlessly as possible. So then we have a couple of slides where you can see the advantages and disadvantages of each of those vendors. Brightwire Networks includes an email spam filter, but the disadvantages, there's no included hardware allowance. An advantage is it comes with cloud storage, but only for backups. A disadvantage is there's a $3,500 onboarding cost. One of the advantages of Brightwire is all of their technicians hold at least one nationally recognized certification for information technology applications, and many of them have multiple certificates. With Right Systems, as I explained a moment ago, they're going to bring into our network a hardware firewall that's software configurable, so we can filter for whatever we want. Email, web browsing, file systems. The disadvantage is they don't provide email filtering. That would come at an additional cost for us. While it's highly desirable, it's mitigated by the fact that we use Microsoft Office 365, and Office 365 comes with a minimal filter in it. The other advantage to Right Systems is other hardware costs are included. A disadvantage is there's no cloud storage. Any cloud storage would come at an additional cost. And another advantage is those onboarding costs are included as part of the 3-year contract. And then what we did is all the questions I asked them to make sure that we're comparing apples to apples. I put it in just a little table there in a spreadsheet. You can see web browsing protection, email, anti-spam filtering, anti-malware, antivirus, on down the line. Very, very similar. Very, very similar. There's some little bitty differences, but they're just little bitty differences. So, how to compare these? If they're virtually alike in all respects, what makes them different, or what's most important? So for us, the hardware is pretty important. So that's it. I weighted that by a factor of 3, and that is really what swayed the ultimate recommendation to Right Systems. You can see the raw scores with lower numbers being better. Right Systems scored a 5, Brightwire scored a 7. If you take the weighting criteria in consideration, it doesn't matter. Right Systems just comes out a few more points ahead. So whether you weight the criteria or not, the winner there, in my opinion, and therefore my recommendation to you, is Right Systems. Both proposals absolutely will do the job for us. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind, whichever vendor you guys tell us to take will do the job for us. But again, based on the included hardware features of the Right Systems proposal, that's my recommendation. Your questions?
Understood.
Good, okay. No questions. All right, that's on the agenda tonight. Next up is Washington Voter Rights Act considerations. This one's relatively complex, and it's coming from a meeting that Millard had at the operating committee for RMSA. So, Mr. Millard, would you like to introduce this subject?
I would. So interestingly enough, the issue results out of the experience of Yakima City. And I know you've all probably heard of it. In general, what happened is Yakima City has a 5-member council. They're all at large, just like us. But unlike us, they conduct primaries. And during a recent primary, some minority members were winners in their little precinct. And during the general election, none of them were elected. So the issue becomes one of
So it's like,
Trying to force.
unequal
yeah,
representation.
it's like here, the way that the county's divided up in 1, 2, and 3. In the primary here in the county, just each district votes in the primary for the top 2, and then in the general election, the whole jurisdiction votes. So, right, is that?
Pretty much. So what happened is the minority members sued them and won, and the legislature responded by passing a new law. There was an appeal, and the appellate court affirmed the lower court, the result being that there is now a concern that because we are like Yakima and the legislature set the limit for districting at 1,000, that we, the city of Tenino, could be subject to such a suit. And while the statutes don't authorize damages, the statute authorizes I keep wanting to say injunctive relief. So the city can literally be forced into a redistricting situation. So as Mayor Fournier says, I picked this up as an issue at the RMSA Operating Committee because their question is, since cities can be sued, do we, the RMSA, want to offer insurance coverage for this, or do we want to treat it like we do the Public Records Act? So in a redistricting situation like this, or a Voters' Rights Act situation, they'd go to court, they'd sue, let's assume they win. Okay, they won't win a money damage against us, but the city has to pay the cost of all the litigation and attorney fees. So that's what RMA is thinking of doing, is they'll defend against a suit like that. But if they don't win, then the city has to pick up the remainder of the cost. So it's an issue. It's a twofold issue for us. First warning is, is there anything we can do to prevent that from happening? And if there isn't, do we want to consider making districts of our own? And that's really, that's work session stuff. That's a question for you guys to chew on.
You guys understand what he's saying?
Yeah.
It's pretty wild, huh?
It's
work
almost
here.
like, it's something for lawyers.
Yeah.
Nobody gets anything out of it. Cities lose money, whether you win the case or you lose the case. The lawyers will make money on it. It's the same thing that I brought up, what is it, John, about a year or so ago? About handicapped people saying that I can't get on here because I can't hear it or I can't see it or whatever the thing was. And Piggly Wiggly down in Texas decided that we're going to fight this, and they ended up paying $50,000.
But for districts, to create districts in Tenino, it wouldn't just not work, it would be incredibly damaging.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
It might make, in Yakima where there's neighborhoods and there's different characters for each area, Tenino's just one little town.
Yeah. You'd have to split us down the middle and go this way and the tail end just chop off.
The school board has a hard time finding people to run in their districts.
Yeah.
If you've got neighbors that are both motivated and interested, They might be the only people that wanna run for office.
See, and this doesn't come from the person that lost, it comes from an activist group saying, well, I think, if I remember right, because it's not that long ago,
Yeah.
it was a Hispanic person that he just flat out lost.
Yeah, well, in his district, in his
Yeah.
neighborhood, he was, you know, he was overwhelmingly the
Yeah,
majority, but then it went to the
little-
greater city, it changed the numbers.
Yeah, and he just flat out lost, and the activist group did not like that. And that's where this is all coming from. The only ones that win anything is the lawyers.
That's true in any litigation. They're the only ones that make it.
Mm.
But because that's come up, we've got to find a way to see, to figure out how we're gonna protect us.
Were you aware of this? See, that's what I think is weird, is like, I would have thought, you know,
Absolutely not.
you know, flags would have gone up, and this would have been
That was
talked
not
about.
something that I even looked into. I didn't hear one word about that the
Yeah.
whole session. It's just something very, very, they don't, sometimes that happens.
Is there a bill number or anything like that?
No.
Oh, I can find it.
It was shocking to me, because how do we implement? Let's say it happened here, okay? What are we going to go to some minority person's house and drag him out and make him go to the courthouse and make him sign up for office and tell him he's gonna serve?
Well, I don't think that's what it's saying that you've gotta have, that,
That's what,
you know,
well,
the
how do you
different-
do it?
the different districts in different regions of cities have different characteristics and different.
No,
That's
but-
not true, that won't work here.
No,
That's
it
what I'm
doesn't.
saying.
Here.
So
our
we
other
draw
alternate-
districts, right?
Mhm.
And come election time, all our candidates are, there's no candidates from one of the other districts.
Yeah.
What are we supposed to do?
Yeah,
We're supposed to go recruit somebody that's gonna run against us.
in a different, yeah.
It may be that, it might suffice that if we decided to implement a districting and that occurred, that we got no candidates from certain districts, that there may be a process where we certify that everything was on the up and up.
That sounds
Yeah.
crazy too.
Yeah, I mean, just
So what-
how do you implement?
So what did you say was our two alternatives? Create districts, what was the other? What did they say?
The same as.
Just keep it like this, is there any, is there a
There's
way
no
we
in
can?
between.
But then there's no way to ensure that it will not happen? I mean, there's no way we can be insured, oh, God.
Well, the operating committee recommends to the board of directors, what we recommended is that RMSA do approach that issue just like we do PRA events. They'll help, the city will have to shell out to defend itself in court, but if it loses, it's gotta pick up all the rest of the costs.
But we have to figure out how we wanna handle it other than that, and I have no idea.
Yeah, well, and we're not under the gun, I mean,
Is there, well, again, we haven't seen the documentation, but Yakima is a much bigger area than we are. There may be.
There's a threshold, but John said it's 1,000 people,
yeah, it's 1,000.
which is ludicrous.
No, I heard something from PDC, that now we have for Tenino to go under the rules that we were going under. That number got bumped up to 2,000, so we may be okay, but we need to find out what the actual language is and what the cutoffs are, because RMSA may have missed that one. It's easy to miss, there's so much stuff that comes out.
I don't know, this is such a big deal, I couldn't imagine that there wouldn't be some leeway and some guidance and more communities talking about it.
Well,
Well, it's a court
I'll find
decision.
out about it, I'll go in and find out about it. I'll do that tomorrow morning.
But even if
Look it
you,
up and find the bill number and find
yeah,
the impetus behind it.
even if we do come up with districts. And there's still the point that our if that's what they're trying to do, is not have citywide elections anymore.
Yeah.
That you can have your election right here, because that guy's, like you said, he was very popular in that section, but once it opened up to the entire
It's not a
city.
bill, Linda, it's a statute on it.
I don't understand, but you'll get, if you get the bill number, then you can address the RC, have you got the RCW?
It's in your-
I'm
it's in your packet.
I'm just wondering about the intent. What the legislature was thinking when they did this is what I was concerned with.
Yeah, RCW 29A.922. Yep.
So we need to find the background of what the heck is going on
I
for
can
them to
do
do
that, just
this.
give me a second here.
Well, the background is they want, representation to,
Give me the code.
they want minorities represented by the people they elect.
29A.922.
Now, here's the other part. Are we the ones that have to come up with the districts, or is that a county rule? Because if we do that, that means the county's gonna have to accept all of
No,
it.
there's a process that we go through. I mean, it's our city, we get to propose how we want to do it.
And then, come next year, when the census is done, about a year after that, all the numbers come out, and we have to redistrict again. It's gonna look, we're gonna be accused, no matter what, they're gonna say, you gerrymandered this. That just opens up a bigger can of worms.
Well, Mr. King, the AWC CEO, said that when this statute was being, was in the bill process, it was not favored. They tried to get it, they were against it, but we were unsuccessful. They don't want to attack it again. Anyway, that was just, again,
Thank you. I forgot about it.
That's the first I heard of it.
Alright, so we'll do more reading. Chief Swain wishes to engage the council in a discussion regarding the need for a new police vehicle.
Engage.
Excuse my appearance tonight, that was off. Good evening, council. Chief Swain, your police chief. I'd like to ask for your authorization in the purchase of a Ford F-150 pickup truck from the Thurston County Sheriff's Office. It's a 2011. The value on the pickup is $15,500. They're going to sell it to me for $13,500. It's going to come completely turnkey in that it's got everything on it that I would normally need. The only thing that we'll purchase is another laptop, because that's how we get our calls from dispatch and that. And the mayor and I had some discussion, and since I'm a working chief, I'm not allowed to have not allowed by statute actually to have an unmarked vehicle that I'm going to constantly be using for patrol and that. Only state patrol gets that. If I was an administrative chief and I was in the office and once in a while I'd go out and play, then I could keep it unmarked. So that's another cost that would be added to this. And we're thinking somewhere in the $18,000, $19,000 range is what it's going to cost for this vehicle. It'll last, I suspect, for probably 5 to 7 years. That's what it's got left in its life. And my current vehicle is a 2008 Crown Vic, Crown Victoria, that that was bought from State Patrol. It's still in decent shape, but it's not going to be that way for much longer.
Just letting you know.
Yeah, I can tell you that the paint's already coming off of it, so that's one thing.
Because you drive it so fast.
Yeah, well, it's better than sleeping in it. So anyway, moving on.
F-150 has a bed.
Yeah, and it's tinted. So anyway, I'm ready to answer any questions you might have about that. It would give us an opportunity to have a utility vehicle if we have some big evidence or something like that that we need to move around. Not the least of which moving our four-wheeler from place to place if we choose to go put it in a parade somewhere or something like that, which I would like to do because it's a pretty unique vehicle for the area.
It's a little different than a patrol car, but it does
is.
have a cage in the back, so it's fully functional as a police vehicle. And then it has, what's that?
That's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah, so it's got a cage in the back, so it can be used to hold a perp or whatever you want to call them.
Is the bed sectioned off to put stuff in, or?
It has a cover over it so
Yeah.
that you can just put stuff in the
I
back.
remember that, but
Yeah.
what I was thinking
Not
of,
it's not compartmentalized,
Okay.
no.
so things can slide around.
So a big part of that is gonna be up to us to figure out how we're gonna put stuff in the back there, cause I wanna haul some stuff that we might need in an emergency back there as well.
Well, if you use wood to make the compartments and tongue and groove them like this, they can come apart real quick.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a thought.
So we are asking tonight for your consideration
Up to how much?
to approve up to, what is it, 20,717. We don't think it'll cost that much, but that'll give us the kind of the headroom that we need. So like I said, it does need to be stickered and marked. It's coming with, all the bells and whistles installed, so we're not having to do any of that
And that
ourselves.
includes the radio too.
Radio,
We'll get the
lights.
radio. So,
Yeah, you probably feel more safer just sitting up in it too.
yeah.
More car.
Yeah, and one of the things that it has on the front of it is it's got that heavy-duty bumper,
No.
so that if we need to, pit somebody with it, not that I want to do this, let's be clear about this, but if we had to, it would be the vehicle to do it with.
Yeah.
And we've got stop sticks for all the units too, so all of that stuff is part of our operation, our daily operation. So all that stuff will be in the back and easy access so we can get to it if we need it.
Well, we're in the budget this month, right?
Capital Improvement Fund.
And
It's
it's
where we funded the other police cars, and it's healthy.
Okay.
So, any other comments or questions? Want to give the rest of
Appreciate
your
your-
report while you're up here?
I appreciate your consideration, sure. So next week, we're opening up the applications for the next Citizens Academy here in Tenino. It will be starting October 14th. We're gonna do something a little different this time. We're gonna do Mondays and Wednesdays during the week in the evenings so that folks can make it, because with school events and things going on the weekend, makes it difficult for people to make it on Saturdays, and I get that. But one Saturday, we are probably gonna have to have people come so we can do the firing range and some of the other stuff. The simulator will be back. So we'll start taking applications for the entire month of September, and then we'll cut them off and do the backgrounds and stuff and be ready to go by the 14th.
So the first date would be Columbus Day, 14th of October.
Is that Columbus Day? Oh, well, yeah, probably.
And it'll be Mondays and Wednesdays in the evening?
Yeah, and we'll probably do something like 6 to 8, just a couple hours.
Okay, well, Colleen and I want to do it.
That's awesome.
Cool. Is the application on the
That's
city's
awesome.
website? Or?
It will be, yeah.
It will be on the city's website.
Yeah, John's gonna take care of that for us.
What are we doing?
The Citizens Academy
Citizens Academy.
announcement and the application. And applications can always, we'll put a stack of them at City Hall downstairs, And we'll put some, obviously, at the front desk at the police department. So,
Next chamber makes a great.
Get up in there and start handing them out.
I can do that, yeah,
That's a really good idea.
And you're
Yeah.
at the Lions Club too, right?
yep,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's also
I'll
a
bring
good
it
idea.
there. We're looking to get probably up to 20 this time. John Steins will be the director again for this one, and he's got some good plans for this next one. You know, we just keep building as we put these on, but this will be the second, and so we're pretty proud of that. We got recognized by the Waspec Chiefs of Police. It's kind of a subcommittee that they have for small cities putting on a police academy. So our reserve academy, the word's gotten out, and we're being asked when we're gonna hold the next one.
Great.
And we haven't even thought that far down the road yet, but it's nice to know if people want us to do it, and it turned out great. Other than that, it's business as usual, calls for service. There's not that big of an influx, even for the summertime. We haven't had anything, other than the shooting on Houston, we haven't had anything that is real pressing. And our new person will start, I'll swear him in probably Thursday or Friday, and then we'll have the mayor swear him in at the next city council meeting and do a formal swearing in then.
How long does the Citizens Academy, how long
We're
does that
gonna,
last?
we're gonna do 4 weeks,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
2 days a
And,
week, 4 weeks.
and that way,
Classes.
it'll be about the same number of hours. We did about 20 hours with the last one, we'll do that this time.
So we did it all morning.
So,
I'm
yeah.
just concerned that it wouldn't run into December, because I'll probably be going back to
Yep.
work, so. Okay.
no, we'll be done, I think right before Thanksgiving, yeah. So, and I'd love, you know, any of you that are interested, I'd love for you to sign up and come join us. We're probably gonna have this one, instead of at the police department, we'll probably have it at the district school office,
Oh,
which is where we have our reserve academy worked out pretty well. It's got room for a projector and all that stuff, so. And as always, I always ask you, is there anything you want your old chief to know? We still have some stuff going on over by your house that you're aware of, and in the Houston Street area that we're assisting some other agencies with over there. So for some, you know, unknown reason, Tenino has become, besides the truck traffic that still is driving me crazy, there's a little bit of a rise in narcotics activity, in that we're noticing some more meth and that type of stuff, and we're patting people or searching people down. You know, the last arrest, DUI arrest, we got arrested for DUI and possession of narcotics, and went to jail. So we are keeping a diligent effort in that area. And then my hope is that next year we're actually going to be a operating part of narcotics within Thurston and Lewis County. So that's
I did today,
That's my plan.
I worked at the shop today, and a tall, slender, colored gal came in with a plain suitcase,
Yeah, I've seen that.
and had a bag over her shoulder, dressed very nicely, very neat and clean. Wanted to know if there were any churches open, that she was relocating to Tenino and she needed a place to stay. And I said, well, there's the Heritage Baptist Church out. She said, well, I'm not too fond of Baptists. I said, oh, okay. Well, the only other church that I know of that might be would be the Presbyterian Church, so I sent her over there to the Presbyterian Church. I didn't think to send her down to your church, I'm sorry.
We
I don't have a church.
I'm talking to Donna.
Oh, Donna.
we haven't had a big influx of homeless,
Yeah, I knew that.
but we've got probably 4 or 5 that are still hanging out in the area.
Well, she does not look like she has been sleeping outside. She
Yeah.
doesn't look like it. She was her hair was very neat. She looked like she had a little makeup on, so she you know, she doesn't look like that.
The resources in this county are pretty amazing though, which, you know,
I
everybody
suppose.
tells me,
That's what I
so,
said.
yeah.
Did Officer White send that email out about that kind of tent city?
Yeah, so, we're planning a detail, I won't go into it operationally, but we're planning a detail to go in and clean up that little camp thing that they've got there. Now, that is not a homeless camp, what that is a place where the juveniles are going to party and sleep and do whatever.
Is this at the park?
No, this is up, Old Dump Road, right off the road there in a clearing where they've pitched some tents, they've pitched some lean-tos, and they're just all going up there and
For crying out
What-
loud.
what-
having a good time, whatever.
The road at the end of the park.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
and, we're planning something for that, so. And I'm gonna involve Public Works, Troy's group, because they have the equipment that we would need, not the least of which is picking up all the trash that's there.
Yeah.
But they have the equipment to, take care of some of the stuff, some of the structures that they've built. So, remember when we all used to build forts?
Yeah.
So this is a fort times 20, that they've just,
I know.
yeah, that they've just,
They're not living there, they just go there to party.
just go there to hang out, party,
What age?
do whatever,
They just
There's
walk
tons
up there or ride their bikes or whatever, they don't,
Maybe both.
Yeah,
you
they,
can't drive up there.
no, there's no vehicle traffic.
Yeah.
It's all walking in or bicycle. I think one of the guys said he did see a four-wheeler coming out of there one time, but he wasn't sure it came from exactly that
It's just kind
that
of a
spot.
mess.
It is.
And now whose property is it? Is it city property? Is it internet property?
That's a good question.
Might be, it's Creekside,
It might, yeah.
Creekside Conservancy.
But even if it's private property, I'm still willing to go on there and clean it up for them,
Oh,
because it's
yeah,
a
they
problem.
wouldn't want that.
It's a problem for us, so.
I wonder if we should contact Chanel and find out if that is part of it.
Yeah.
I'll do that. I'll
Okay.
see if it is. And again, if it is, I'll just contact the owner and tell him, hey,
Right.
this is the date, this is the time we wanna go up there. But before it gets out of control, cause they've been doing fires up there too. And before things
Yeah,
get burned
yeah,
up.
Yeah, that could be bad.
And that'll be within the next 2 weeks that we'll be doing that.
Okay.
On the lighter side, please do not call my cousin royalty anymore because she's got a big enough head.
Royalty. Oh.
She said, well, guess what? The chief called me and I said, oh my God. I said, I'm gonna say something to him.
You know, my mouth gets me into a lot of trouble.
I'm always giving her a bad time because she calls herself a princess and I'm always
Oh,
giving her a
well.
bad time. So, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I
okay.
didn't realize, you know, as I'm here longer in Tenino, I find out all of the relationships.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah,
I know.
yes.
What is the city ordinance about parking your semi on the street in front of your house?
So, that's an interesting question.
Because I know before the chief last year was he was coming to the council meeting about this, tearing up the roads and everything, and then it just kind of went away after he left.
So, if you look at our ordinances on semi-trucks, on truck stuff, one of the biggest issues that we're gonna have, and this is part of what I need to change and what I would like for council to change actually, is right now in the program that we have to write tickets, our city ordinances, some of them are there and some of them aren't. And it used to be the ones that weren't, you could take out a paper ticket and write it down and then issue the ticket. And the state has ruled out no more paper tickets. The courts got together and said you can't use them. So now everybody has to do the electronic version, but if your ordinances are not downloaded, all of them, into the sector program, you can't write it. So, it's a process that we have to get to, and a big part of that is all-night parking,
Yeah.
which is what you're talking about.
Yep.
You're talking about abandoned vehicles, you know, some of the code enforcement stuff that requires law enforcement intervention in order to make it go to court. Because Ben doesn't have, as far as I know, doesn't have arrest authority or anything like that, so it's up to us. And the same thing can be said about our dog ordinances.
Yeah.
So as we look at some of these, like we're doing the fireworks ordinance, it's a goal of mine to go through our current ordinances and see what applies still and what doesn't apply, and then try to get those into our system so that we can write those summonses if we need to. But as it stands right now, if it's not in the state books and if there's not a state violation that corresponds with it, then it makes it difficult for us to write a summons on it.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Chief.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Proposed resolution 2019-06 would adopt the final Young Tenino Trail Extension feasibility study report for use by the Tenino Planning Commission when they begin work on the next comprehensive plan update. So that's on the agenda. I don't know how much you guys want to talk about that in the work session. The wall, the wall is complete in the park. The final, what do they call them, voussoir stones or whatever the fancy term is, was placed last week. If you haven't seen it, it's a person diving off the pool, off the ledge, the waterfall, and it looks really cool. We talked about doing, yeah, looks nice. We talked about doing a ribbon cutting. I know we did a dedication already, but to do like a just Tenino and county commissioner ribbon cutting, I think would be nice, and we'll involve the chamber. Would you guys be interested in doing that? Okay. So we'll plan that out here in the next couple weeks. Nothing crazy or fancy. We'll just get with the Chamber of Commerce to do our typical ribbon cutting thing, maybe after a chamber meeting or something. And then the bike plaza being complete, and we kind of need to name it. John threw out something like, what did you call it in an email? The Radplatz? I don't want that to catch on.
The what?
So we need to come up with a name for it. I've just been calling it the Bike Plaza. I don't, you know, something. So maybe we, I don't know if we want to, maybe we do a naming contest or something like that, or I don't know. Does anybody have any ideas?
Not right off the top of my head.
Okay, think about it. Think about it, and then we'll put that on the next work session, and we'll figure it out.
We can, but we can't talk about it.
Yeah. Okay, that's it for the work session. We'll take a 15-minute break, and then we'll come back.
What is this?
Hi, Kaylee. Do you want to
Yeah, you know.
show
Chief,
anything?
what's
I
that?
don't have anything to show.
Okay.
Give me a text.
That works.
No, works for me.
If those are interesting, but yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
First Thursday you should go.
What
Just be there.
time do you guys start?
The regular session starts at 7:30. You know, they gotta do the minutes and all that stuff. You'll be right up.
Okay.
I got something to say.
What is this?
Okay.
I reviewed some of your, I reviewed some of your videos. From here, council.
Okay.
Oh.
That cuts off a lot of that over
Yep,
there.
it does.
They got a plug in right here. Set that camera back here.
Okay,
You get the whole
that's
thing.
cool.
I don't want to be seen.
Come on, Don, you want to be a movie star? You do. You get the, you seen the police car?
Yeah.
The Metropolitan police car? What I'm trying to do is give him sit down, put a star on the side, like that.
It's all, that's what this is addressed.
I know maybe Steve.
Where's this?
He goes, I can change my mind if you're gonna keep this up. It's like,
Oh, red cutout car?
Oh,
And then.
you want to put hazards in there. That's Highway 507. You got to talk to the state about that
No,
stuff.
they got replaced this
That's stateway, that's Highway 507. You have to talk to the state about this.
It's forced,
Yes.
something forced.
State owns the road.
Commissioner.
The state owns the road.
Road bed,
The state owns the asphalt,
on the road
paint and
bed,
everything else.
right down the middle.
No, they own it. That's why
That's why when
the
they come
strip that they
in, when
pave.
they come in here, they did all this
Yeah.
last time, they just come in here and they didn't even get the sides.
Well, yeah, because they did what was cheapest for them.
Anyway,
It's
yeah.
their highway, they can do it any way they want.
I was thinking about.
It means our marketing earnings are okay.
And that's what Flower Street, and I told them,
Okay, so tell these guys,
I will.
yeah. Remember, they changed the process. If you can only speak on what's on the agenda, and you have to sign up first. You can't, during the public comment, you can't just come up and start talking.
Okay, and that's my idea, so.
Yeah, and
John, let me ask
I got a question about last meeting,
In regard to,
public comments, second period.
There's
I
none.
know, he cut us off early, but he went to the kids and stuff like that, he didn't even put in a second, public opinion, I had no way to talk.
you're right. They had me change the policy, and the council acquiesced in it. If you want to talk, you have to sign up, and you can only talk about what's on the agenda.
Definitely not that.
Yeah, I wonder why.
I know.
I wonder why.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, John, I
Yeah.
have a question.
There's no more public comment, unless you guys.
That's not true. There's public comment, and there's just a different process.
Yeah, you can't, you gotta talk about what's on the agenda, you can't talk about what's
Well,
on.
my told you that would be
Commissioner
responsible.
Forrest from the planning commission.
Well, was it really back?
Well, bring it up at the facade meeting.
I will.
Gosh.
Yeah.
It's a 29.
There's a way, there's a way of putting it in.
Correct.
Exactly.
Correct.
There's a way of putting the plans out there.
I know, yeah, I just.
Well, he's got a string on somebody.
You get a nice big plan.
I was just confused.
No, well,
Yeah, but you need to have a
Kinda throughout
plan,
the
then
last
you gotta
half
have the city crew come
We-
in and water them all.
so both Shelley and Becky
They get it for free.
told the planning commission several months ago that
Okay.
they were both considering. Right. And,
Yeah, it's right there.
you know,
But you gotta go out that door, come all the way around.
Becky's always been more communicative. And Will was just finally frustrated because, you know. Right, and
No, another thing.
So we
too,
just
is that
kinda,
our kids are like over
delaying doing anything until, you know, we had a known vacancy and we have challenges filling it. So now that we finally got it filled, Will's like, okay, let's create the other vacancy and, so that's what's going on.
God wants to keep it a dead town. And I want to keep it
Yeah,
a
well,
town.
this and that and the other thing,
Have a street dances and stuff like that, you know.
That sounds good.
my opinion is irrelevant.
I know.
Oh, they're between the tavern and the
It's
independent.
not illegal, immoral, or unethical. That's what we're doing. Joey, how are you?
Doing good, how about yourself?
Not bad.
Like if they went upside down.
8 minutes here, we'll keep it going.
No worries.
So is all this spoken for now?
No,
No.
I want a crook.
Well, she got little bags for everybody and everything. Way too nice.
I love that, I'll take that up to my sister's home. Crookneck squash.
Yeah, so in German, a Rad is a bicycle and a Platz is any kind of open area. So everything's a Platz. You know, park Platz, a
So
food
that's what you call
Platz,
it,
a Radplatz, it's a bike plaza. Yeah.
And he said,
A Radplatz, but it's in German.
yeah. Not yucky.
Well, so here's the deal, you know, we were calling it a kiosk, okay, well, a kiosk implies a roof.
Yeah, I know.
I like the tools that are on there.
The tools, oh yeah, they're cool as heck.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah, definitely.
We were camping down in Shampooin Park in Oregon this last weekend, and
Achilles in there.
they had a bike repair station nowhere near that nice.
Yeah, that one's a nice one.
I'm ready to go home now.
Ladies and gentlemen, if we've had a recent change to our public comment period procedures. If you want to take advantage of the public comment period, you have to sign in first, and your comments may only pertain to items on the agenda. So in order to get on the agenda, you'll have to follow that process. Which is you make a request through City Hall, and I'll coordinate that with the mayor and the council. So to speak contemporaneously on a subject that's on the agenda, just put your name on the roster there, and we'll let you speak. Extemporaneously.
Those big words.
Yeah. It's gonna make sure.
Trying to show off his college education.
Well,
I
Mark
can't
and how
believe
you
my opinion.
trying to show it off. Did you get my?
We did. Try to think if I put that.
You know,
I know I put the proposal in there, and the question. I meant to put that.
I got approval from my boss.
Well, it was an updated proposal, so yeah, it is pinned. You can see it if you were online. Correct. Becky gave us a letter and communicated everything, so that's the position that Alex. Okay. And then Councilmember O'Callahan thinks that he knows somebody who's willing to serve.
Yes, I will do what I can.
Funny thing about the new guy,
I appreciate it.
I talked to him last summer, last summer about doing something like that.
Well, he sent an email commissioner application to me, and he did specify what position at the Civil Service Commission opening and a planning commission. So I look at his application, and he's a realtor, and he's done a lot of work in that kind of field, and I'm like,
You feel
oh, you want to be on the planning commission? No, I want to be on the Civil Service Commission.
Yeah, he
Well, that's how I recruited him.
Right. Speaking of the Civil Service Commission, I know you're from, former Mayor Jones. We talked to him. How's he doing?
Dinner here tonight.
Okay.
Stay together.
Doing okay?
He's supposed to be doing better once he gets on it's like home dialysis.
Yeah.
And he said, I don't feel sick. He said, I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad.
That's right, he did say that, didn't he? It's hard for me to believe I'm sick.
Yeah. We had 63 people for staying there. That's the courthouse.
Holy moly. How do you even fit that many in?
It was a tight spot, but we did it. Oh, they're all good. Yeah, the gal, they marinated them. Oh my gosh, tonight, there were 5 left, 6 weren't cooked. She went and bought them.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, for this one. That position. Yeah, he's running for the other
It was
seat.
kind of.
Oh, okay.
There's 2 seats.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pushing the bosses real hard for it.
Oh.
That's somebody that stole something.
Is this still here in the market?
Oh, Is that right?
That you want me to see?
I tell you, my two twin great-great-grandmothers, Mel's 10.
Okay,
Great, great.
No, great.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
that's good.
I have a bunch of lists of things I want to do this summer, and I swear to God, it's that long. One of the things I want to do is create YouTubes.
My daughter wants to do
Oh
that
my
too, I can't
God.
stand it.
Oh, it's adorable.
No, make YouTube videos, but she gets the camera out and she's like, alright daddy, and she wants me to do it.
No.
And I won't like play with the Barbie.
I mean,
and
just
I
the-
saw that, it looks good.
You know what they did, you know what their YouTube was? There were them plus two friends plus their three cousins. And they each drew something out of the thing, and that's what they had to put in a glass to make a smoothie. And it was ketchup, and mayonnaise, and mustard, and strawberries, and chocolate ice cream, and Nutella.
That's disgusting.
Peanut butter. And they,
Did they drink it?
they sipped it.
Oh.
It was really a cute thing, it was really cute. So let her do that.
Well, no, I will, but I'm not gonna, but she's not
Get her
gonna like,
friends, get her
she's not
friends.
gonna direct me to play with Barbies and then put it on YouTube. It's not gonna happen.
I'll direct you.
Yeah, because that, she wanted to create a YouTube channel or whatever called Silly Sage, and then she wanted, and then all of a sudden it was Silly Sage and Silly Daddy. And I'm like, nope, turn the cameras off.
Dressed up Ken today before we came here.
Oh, I can do that, but not, I don't need it
You were
to be on,
dressing up
it doesn't need to
Ken?
be on camera.
Oh.
Well, there was three purposes.
No. Ladies and gentlemen,
These kinds of costumes.
I hope so. Now I'm gonna get a bigger one. Welcome to the August 27th Tenino City Council meeting. Let the record show that all council members are present with the exception of Councilmember Watterson, who will need to be excused. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. We need an agenda needing approval with the addition of Councilmember Watterson's excusal. In the, oh, it's there, never mind. It's been moved and seconded. Do we hear any discussion?
Who's second?
Linda.
Thank you.
Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. That brings us to approval of minutes.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes for the August 13th, 2019 Tenino City Council meeting. Minutes with no changes. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. That brings us to the consent calendar.
No approval.
Second. This is a consent calendar consisting of August 14th, 2019 through August 27th, 2019. Payroll EFTs and checks number 28492 through 28496 in the amount of $47,978.35. Claims checks 28497 through 28517 in the amount of $31,437.04 for a grand total of $79,415.39.
That's different than
That's, I got 79,263.39.
I'm sorry, what the mayor wrote you included a last minute addition for $153 and some change.
What's it to?
$79,415.39.
Oh, what was the last edition check for?
What was the last? Who? Yes.
Honestly, I don't remember who it was issued to, I just remember the.
Oh, it was already in there?
Yeah.
We already
Just,
looked at it.
okay, no problem.
Consent calendar also includes the excusal of Councilmember Watterson, who had to have a medical procedure. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes.
We should send, Watterson a gift card or something.
Okay. We'll get a get well card downstairs. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what it is. You know, it could have been
Just happened.
maybe he had like a pimple popped or something. I don't know, but we don't want to pry, and we just told him that we'd be there for him. But we can get him a card.
Yeah.
And squash.
And squash. We have no executive session tonight, which brings us to presentations. The new director of the Center for Business and Innovation at the Thurston Economic Development Council, Ms. Kaylee Purcell, will introduce herself and give an overview of the center's purpose and operation. Come on up. Yep, to the lectern, please. Make sure you turn the button on.
It's on.
It's on to me.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. I feel weird facing the front of the room and ignoring you guys to the back, but I'll speak to you guys tonight. So I'm the director at the Center for Business and Innovation. It's part of the Thurston Economic Development Council. It's a new position for me. And I met John at Steady, and he asked me to come on in and share a little bit about myself and then the resources that we offer. So for myself, I met the EDC about 12 years ago. I went in and to one of their business resource opportunities and learned about their services and got plugged in. I'm actually from here locally. I grew up in the Yelm area. Both my parents were in the military, and I ended up here due to them. And I've been a local entrepreneur since a very young age, and at the age of 16, I actually moved out and was running 2 small businesses. And met the EDC as a resource for business coaching and consulting. So through there, I learned how to grow a successful business and met with PTAC, our local government procurement technical assistance center, and learned how to contract with the federal government. Through that process, I was able to take a small company and grow it into a large successful company and secure several $1 million of federal government contracting work here locally. I joined the Think Network, which is a local Thurston investment network that the EDC hosts. And through that, I've been able to invest into local companies here locally. And that's where I met the rest of the crew at the EDC and took on this position. So I'm now the director there because I really believe in what we do. We support and start the business growth for startups to companies about the size of 100 employees. And we are packed full of resources. We're actually the most technical resources under one roof in the state of Washington for businesses. So we house several programs. I was just going to go through all of those this evening. So we house PTAC, which is the Procurement Technical Assistance Center. So we help anyone who wants to learn about how to contract with the federal government, how to go through that process, how to secure a contract, and how to write those bids. Those are free services that we offer. We house the Small Business Development Center, which hosts 2 local advisors. It's also a no-charge resource for companies to come in and get free counseling and guidance on how to grow and scale the business. We house the Washington Center for Women in Business. So we're one of 3 resources in the state of Washington specifically dedicated to helping women entrepreneurs grow. Those services are also free, and women can come in and get free business coaching and consulting. We also offer webinars statewide for women who are interested in starting a business. And we also offer military spouses a business 10-week course to put together a business plan. Then we have our annual Inspire event, which is May 8th, mark your calendars. And that's for women across the Puget Sound region to come and learn and get inspired about being in business. We also house Aussie. It's a company in partnership with the Thurston Economic Development Council, and it's utilizing the new tax program of opportunity zones, which are low-income census tracts where we can reinvest money that otherwise would be typically not put into those areas. That can be done through businesses or through real estate. We also house Think, that local investment group I talked about. And basically, if you're a local business looking for capital, you can come in and pitch similar to Shark Tank, and we have a local group of 45 investors ready to invest into the local community. That's a really underutilized resource. So if there's businesses in your community looking for alternative funding, that's a great resource. We also house STEADY, which is the South Thurston Economic Development Initiative. So that's to support the growth and the collaboration of the South County. And you guys are familiar with that and a part of that, and we appreciate the support. George Sharp, who you probably know, is working with the City of Tenino on getting ready to apply for the certificate for Tenino to be a creative district. And that's a statewide program that will give some grant money to come and help plan those services to increase your marketing ability. We also have a partnership with the City of Tenino and the Center of Business for the Agricultural Park Development. And we're excited to work on that project together and grow that. We house Scale Up, which is a training program, 3-part series to help grow and strengthen businesses. Tune Up is the first of those 3 series. It helps companies build systems to make it easier for them to grow. Build Your Market is the second of that, and it helps creating and implementing a marketing plan. And then Financial Mastery is the 3rd class, and that helps support the health and the sustainability of a business, how to plan and project your finances. So those programs, we actually have a scholarship currently that was put out through Tenino, Dakota through study, and Elaine Robinson with Smiling Web Design was the recipient of that today.
Oh, great.
And that class starts 9/12, so coming up here if you know anyone interested in that course. We're also responsible for adding classes to the catalog for the South Puget Sound Community College Continuing Education Center. So if there's a need in the community for a business topic, it's our job to put that on the calendar and provide those services. The other thing that allows us to do is if there's a local company with a need for training that's not met in their facility, we can actually create that training curriculum and help train employees in that sector. We also house Gene Angel. He's our research manager, and he's able to help us and our investors and our clients figure out how to use data to make better choices. So if that's a market analysis or industry trends or consumer report data, you can just come in and use those services. New news, we're opening a satellite office at the Yelm City Hall next Tuesday. And we'll be staffing that from 2 to 5 p.m. on Tuesdays to provide resources on site. All the resources we provide in Lacey will be available at the Yelm facility. And that'll be from 2 to 5 every single Tuesday. And businesses can actually meet with us, access all those resources, and it's just one more way that we can reach out to the community and let them know what services we have to offer. So we're up to a lot of things out there. We can do all this because we're all behind our core mission to create a sustainable and dynamic economy that supports the values of the people who live and work here in Thurston County. And we're really excited about what we're up to. And we do that through grant money and city partnerships and the support of local investment dollars. So all of our programs can be found on thurstonedc.com. And we'd love to be able to support businesses grow out here. That's what I've got.
Thanks, Kate.
Thanks, Kelly. Does anybody have any questions?
No.
Excellent job, thank you. That brings us to our public hearing. Tenino Municipal Code 2.36.020 provides that members may be removed after a public hearing by the mayor with the approval of the council for inefficiency, neglect of duty, or malfeasance in office. During the August 21st, 2019 regular meeting of the Tenino Planning Commission, a motion was made to remove Commissioner Forrest as she has not attended a meeting nor has the city been able to communicate with her for the past few months. The motion was seconded and then received in unanimous approval of the commissioners present. So we will hold a public hearing. The public hearing is for the public input and discussion of the removal of Commissioner Forrest. This public hearing will proceed in an orderly fashion, and I would like to ask your cooperation in the following procedure. Everyone present will be given an opportunity to be heard. The clerk will be recording what is said. Therefore, when you address the council, please begin by stating your name and address. Before hearing from the audience, I'm going to introduce the subject again. The subject is the removal of Commissioner Forrest, who has not attended a meeting in quite some time. At this time, the floor is open for comments from the audience. In fairness to all in the attendance, each person will be given an opportunity to address the council for an initial period not to exceed 3 minutes. If more time is needed, it will be made available after everyone has had a chance to speak. I'm requesting council members hold their questions to the public until everyone is done. Is there anyone in the public who would like to provide comment on this subject? Last chance. Going once, going twice.
Like that touchscreen, do you?
No. Yeah. Council members, do you have any questions for the audience or staff regarding this subject? Public testimony is now closed. At this point, council is asking for, mayor is asking the council for approval for the removal of Commissioner Forrest for neglect of duty.
So moved. Second.
It has been moved and seconded to authorize the mayor to remove Commissioner Forrest for neglect of duty. Is there any discussion?
just one more time, the reason that this person is being removed is because we have a complete lack of communication. They're not showing up to any meetings, and we need people that are actually going to do the jobs that we ask them to, and they step up to ask for us to let them to do that. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here where we are right now.
Yep. No further discussion, hearing, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes, thank you. Based on a comparison, old business, item 11.
Did we forget public comments?
There's nobody that signed up.
Oh.
Old business 11, based on a comparison of the two MNS proposals, the administration recommends Right Systems. We are asking for a motion to approve Mayor Fournier to enter into a 3-year service agreement with Right Systems.
So moved.
It's been moved
Okay.
and seconded. Is there any discussion? We discussed this in the work session and had a presentation. Any further questions? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. That brings us to 12, Gibson Olson. Gibson Olson has provided a proposed scope of work for the extension of the city's sewer and water services to the Ag Park property. City Attorney Hughes has reviewed this document and asked that we verify the assumptions used in the document, which we have done, and there are no issues, and ensure the engineer's assistance includes contract management, which it does. Recommended action is to move to authorize Mayor Fournier to execute the scope of work for the extension of the city utility services to the Ag property.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Take a few years to do this, but.
Yeah. Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. That brings us to Chief Swain. Chief Swain has identified the need for a new police vehicle to take place of the current cruiser used by the chief. We had a discussion on this in the work session. Chief, do you have any further comments?
No, sir.
Recommended action is moved to approve the purchase of a new police vehicle in an amount not to exceed, I believe it was $20,717 from municipal capital improvement funds.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. That brings us to resolutions. We have a proposed resolution 2019-06. This would adopt the final Yelm Tenino Trail Extension Feasibility Study report for use by the Tenino Planning Commission when they begin work on the next comprehensive plan update.
Move approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution 2019-06, a resolution of the City of Tenino adopting the Thurston Regional Planning Commission Yelm Tenino Trail Extension Feasibility Study for planning purposes. Whereas the TRPC commissioned a feasibility study to determine the options for extending the Yelm Tenino Trail both south toward Bucota and west toward Rochester using 2016 TAP funds. Whereas the TRPC selected local firm of SCJ Alliance to perform the study, and whereas SCJ Alliance completed the study and presented the results for the city councils of both Bucota and Tenino and to the Thurston County Board of Commissioners. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Tenino, Washington. Section 1, the final report is available on the city's website. This report is made part hereof, and incorporated here by reference as it is fully set forth below. Section 2, the resolution and report shall be considered for use in updating the city's comprehensive plan. The Tenino Planning Commission shall determine whether the results of the feasibility study will be included in the annual comp plan update or as part of the consolidated update to be issued in accordance with the schedule established by the State's Growth Management Act, adapted by the City Council at a regularly scheduled meeting of this 27th day of August 2019. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. I'd like on the next work session some kind of discussion about what else we could do, because a lot, you know, we've gotta somehow, I think, kind of memorialize or formalize some kind of request to the county to do something similar, like put it into their trails plan, maybe ask, maybe some kind of joint resolution with Bucota to request the county, you know, I don't know what. Maybe there's some kind of joint resolution with Bucota to present to the county to ask them to extend the trail. You know, we've done the feasibility study. They need to be the ones that extend it from Tenino to Bucota because it's all county property. But I don't know what. No, just some kind of resolution saying, hey guys, you know, we've I know it's been presented, but I think there needs to be something from the city, not just from TRPC, that says, you know, hey, we conducted this feasibility study. Hope you like it. Now we'd appreciate it if you
Get on board.
Yeah, get on board with it. So we can talk about that at the next work session though. Ordinances. Ordinance 905. This would amend Tenino Municipal Code, Chapter 8.09, fireworks, to reduce the number of days during which fireworks may legally be discharged within the city limits. We are asking that you move to accept this as the second reading and to adopt Ordinance 905 as presented.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Just a little bit.
Okay.
Brought it up last time, I'm gonna bring it up one more time. I think what we're doing here is we're making an ordinance, rule, regulation, whatever you wanna call it, on emotion. I do not believe that as elected officials that we need to move, especially on something like this, on just pure emotion. If we had a ton of our citizens coming up and saying we want to do something like this, that's one thing. I've heard nothing about this from anybody. What I have heard is that I prefer not to have fireworks at all. To me, that's an emotional issue. We need to take the emotion out of it. I think we need to table this until we get a better handle on what Tenino wants instead of just a couple of people up here want. One of the things that I brought up last time, I poorly quoted Thomas Jefferson when he said that on this day we should celebrate with libations and illuminations. And Wayne, you brought up on this day. Well, it had to be on that day because that was the day that our Constitution was presented to our fledgling nation. I do not believe, and through history do not believe, that he meant just on the 4th of July. It is something that we've been celebrating for a week or more, depending on where you are. And there's other things that I brought up at the last meeting, but the biggest things are those two right there. The most important is doing something like this because we don't like fireworks at all. So let's go ahead and cut back what people in Tenino have been able to do since I first moved here, 28, 29 years ago? And before I got here, they were able to do that as well. Again, I have not heard anybody in this city say that they want to see the days of what they can do reduced. Until that happens, I'm seeing this ordinance as something driven by emotion. And we can't do things by emotion. It's got to be done by the numbers. We've got to make sure that we're doing the right thing, and instead of just saying, I don't like this, so let's do this.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that has a comment?
I understand what you're saying, but the public actually did comment on social media. There was on the Tenino Talk and another page where it was just one after another that was like, why are they still letting them off? You know, there's quite a bit of the citizens of the Tenino that.
And it's not like we're going on emotion. We're not taking away anybody's rights from lighting off fireworks or nothing. We're just shortening the days.
And the days to buy them are not short.
No.
just to set them off.
Yeah,
Not to buy them, just to set them
I
off.
understand what you guys are saying, and I understand that this is a losing position for me,
Well,
but I
exactly.
had to stand on the points that I thought were important.
Okay, is there any further discussion? I love when you guys debate. It's awesome.
Now, the other part about this is I asked for this to be held in advance, you know,
Well, I
to
don't
table
think
it.
anything's gonna
Well,
happen
it's on
for
the,
a while.
there's a motion on
Yeah.
the floor.
But as far as I can see, that request is died for lack of a second.
Okay,
People need to come here and voice their opinion, and not on social media.
but I think you gotta take it
Yeah,
however it comes.
The social media thing, I never saw.
yeah, on that,
And I'm on both of those pages
There were a
as
ton
well.
of
a lot of people were upset.
Another thing about that is, were they all living within the city limits? Again, I didn't see it, so I don't know.
Alright, so comments been made. Do you have any further?
No,
Does anybody have any further comments or questions or concerns? Okay. With no further debate, I will call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
nay,
Motion passes. That's 3-1, right?
yep.
Okay. Excellent work.
Was here before.
Good job, thank you. That brings us to reports. Chamber of Commerce.
We had a great I thought it was on. We had a great presentation by, tell me the name of the.
Jonathan Meyer.
No,
Yeah, Jonathan Meyer,
was it Jonathan Myers
Yeah.
from Lewis County, our,
our reserve officer.
at the,
And
chamber meeting.
Lewis County prosecutor.
Yeah,
Yep.
just, it was very, very good, and the chief spoke, and, yeah, it was a good meeting.
Awesome. EDC, you presented. Do you have anything further? VCB not present, fire district not present, library not present, museum, any?
Some sad news, I don't know if everybody knows this, Don Montgomery is not doing well, he's in the hospital now.
He's terminal.
That's a
Yeah.
We're just about to close out the tours for the summer, the weekend stuff. Oh, I meant to get you that book, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'll get you that book. But again, during the rest of the year, if somebody wants to take a tour, just go to Facebook, our Facebook page, Tenino Depot Museum. Give us a couple of days leeway and when you request the tour, so that we can make sure somebody's there for you.
Okay. Civil Service Commission, you have not met since last meeting. Planning Commission, Facade Improvement Grant Review Committee.
We are meeting again Thursday morning, but at the last meeting, it was decided that we would, I forgot to bring my notes. The signs for the post office, it's already decided, okay, we are approved that. But instead of having a sign that says Tenino Farmers Market, and it was the opinion of the committee that the Stonecutters is a business. They sell, it's a business, it's not just a volunteers, you know, it's not.
What's that have to, okay.
Okay, that we would like to have a sign that says Creative District, and then placards below it with an arrow pointing for the Tenino Market, and then to the Stonecutters. That's what we would like.
I think it's too late for that.
Are there signs already made?
Well, I mean, we've already kind of sent it off to the guy, but, I mean, the Creative District is huge. It's bigger than just that
Oh,
area.
I know.
And the Facade Improvement Grant Review Committee doesn't necessarily decide
No,
how.
it's a recommendation.
Yeah. So like you couldn't, if Elizabeth came in and said she wanted her her windows washed, the facade improvement, right? You couldn't, well, you need to use Windex instead of ammonia. So yeah, okay. Well, if there's something in writing, please get that to the administration, and we'll figure out how to work with that. That brings us to police chief. Oh, we already went through that. Police chief, you gave your report. Do you have anything further?
No.
Okay, Director of Public Works, It is in the packet, water stuff, collection stuff, park, car show and bike swap meet went off without any problems. Public Works is mowing the right-of-ways, trimming trees and all those things. Clerk Treasurer, your report?
We'll bring it up here. Well, while I'm bringing it up, I can tell you that the 2017-2018 audit began this last Thursday, and they were here in force yesterday. I had 4 of them downstairs, and today there's 3. They plan on being here until the 12th of September, and so far we haven't. No big issues, typical audit stuff. Hang on just a second.
Okay. I'll start going through that. Be that, you have a report?
They had a meeting last Monday, but if anybody wants the notes, just let me know, I'll forward it to you.
Okay. CIP, that is Dave. Solid Waste Advisory, Dave. TCOM, School Board. Okay. TRPC,
Next month,
Steady.
same thing.
Okay. TPB.
Oh, steady we did meet, I'm sorry.
Okay.
TPB is next month.
Okay.
During the meeting, everybody's giving their reports and stuff, and George started pointing at people and said, okay, Tenino, and he looked at Linda and me, and we just pointed at John. John gave a really good report about what we're doing here in Tenino, so thank you, John.
All right.
Yes, John, thank you.
Did you want the?
Yeah, I'm ready now.
Okay, so
Sorry it took so long. Our revenues are finally starting to catch up with our projections for a gain of 6.5 percentage points last month, so that makes me a little happier. And expenditures are slowing down, makes sense, summer's winding down.